So in this video, we're going to true scale up some company veterans. We're going to use the Dark Angels box, but it really doesn't matter which box we use. But what we want to do is, because we're using mostly Primaris all over the place, we want to bring these guys up to about the same height as the Primaris, so our army looks somewhat similar across the board. And we're going to use some company veterans because you can take two of them for about 48 points in 9th edition and give them shields. And that gives them a 2-up, 4-up invul, which let them hold objectives. We don't care much about them shooting, but they can run around the backfield and kind of make a mess of things. So we do want to have a couple of these squads running around, or 48 points each. So, but we're going to build them up now. So as you know, these are old school Marines. So we're going to have to find a way to make them taller. So we'll do that in just a minute. What we did was we removed the model from the sprue. So we took the torso legs as well as the front of the torso, and they go together like so. We're not going to glue them together because we're going to use this curve here to hide some of our work here. So this model is definitely smaller than a Primaris model, and we want to make him a little bit taller. So normally we'd extend the thighs, but in this case, we can't do that because of the robes, so we'll just extend the robes. So our next job to do, we'll put this aside, is to cut right where the robes end, and we'll do that with a razor saw, and we'll just cut that flush right along there, and then meet back here in a few moments. Now that we've cut off the top of the torso, so we made sure we kept the round bulb here. That usually sits right there, and it matches nicely with the front part of the torso, giving us a nice ridge to hide by. And then we've cut this flush. So now what we're going to do here is extend this up a little bit more, and what we're going to do with that is take some polystyrene tube. So this is Evergreen Scale Models. This is a 3 1/4 inch tube, and it's just plastic card as a tube. That's all. So we're going to cut off a small piece of that, a couple of millimeters in length, maybe about that much. So right about there somewhere, and we're going to cut that free and glue that right on the top of the waist. So it gave us just this little tiny piece here. It's not very big, but it's effectively the difference between a Primaris and a normal Marine. So in this case, we eyeballed it at about an 1/8 of an inch, give or take. You can go smaller than that if you like. But we're going to glue that right on the top here, just like so. This is our model now that we put the polystyrene tube in between. So we've got this top piece and then the bottom piece, and then we've got this empty gap space that's here. So we've glued both of them on, we've let them set, and that leaves this space here, which we are going to fill in with some green stuff. So we'll take a small little piece of green stuff, mix it together, and then we're just going to run it in thin layers right around this loop, building it outwards till it's flush with the outside. We've just mixed up the green stuff and made little strips like this, which we're just going to stuff into the gap here. Just like so. And we'll keep putting some more in. Let's roll it out and flatten it down. And run it inside the gaps, just like before. If you're worried about fingerprints, just wet hands will help you smooth it out. But for the most part, we're just putting the layers in yet. More in the back there, I think. Something like that. A little bit of wet fingers to spread it down and blend it down below. Just like so. Now all we have to do is take our tool and just put some of the grooves back in artistically. Don't worry as much about the front because we're going to cover that piece up with the ropes that are there. So just bring it up that way, but we'll do that and be back in a few minutes to see what it looks like. This is our model that we finished molding the green stuff. So as you can see, we've blended it as best we could, added some frills and things like that, tried to match with the ones that we left down below. We'll go over it a few more times in the meanwhile, but that's kind of what you get here. Don't worry about the front because like we said, that will hide quite nicely with the front piece there. And then you can also have some extra ropes dangling down to cover up or some trinkets and things like that on there. So we'll let that dry and then we'll show you what it looks like when it's done. We had finished earlier, and as you can see, it's nice and dry now. We finished building the model itself, put the shield and the bolter on, but effectively what we have here is our green stuff that's now hardened. It's been about 48 hours and it's ready for painting. It's not as nice as the one we just did, but it does give you the extra height that you normally wouldn't have. So now these stand very similar to the Primaris as opposed to the old school Marines that were there before. There's another one we did, but it wasn't quite as tall. The extra piece inside stops it from shrinking down as you're squashing it and putting it together. Gluing that reinforced piece inside also helps it hold together. So we didn't put as large a one in this one, but it is there, and then the cloth covers it up again, same as before. But there is still quite a bit of green stuff we did there. And you can build it up thicker if you like, spread it down. But effectively, that's one way to make more true scale Marines for things like company veterans and things like that. So we're going to paint these up because we're going to use them in our army as objective takers and objective holders and secondary action, you know, raised banners, things like that. So we'll do that now, and hopefully this video helped you, and if so, leave a like in the channel or a comment, and otherwise than that, we will see you at our next video when we build something else. Cheers.